so Twomad was a creator that many knew.
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
He started uploading in the golden year of 2016, you know, one of the actually good years. Pokemon Go was just released, Black Ops 3 was still being played, Overwatch wasn't a pile of viscous corn-filled feces, and content on YouTube was very different to say the least.
Give it up, ballsy balls. Give it up, ballsy balls.
God, please take me back. But after launching his first YouTube channel, Twomad360, he would slowly start becoming more and more iconic and a staple on the internet, especially in 2019 and the years of COVID that followed.
Who is this?
I am accusations from Wuhan University. I am new transfer student, and this is my brother.
However, whilst many remembered Twomad for his humour and his highly edited videos that may have even put people like Maxor to shame, actually probably not, that guy probably sees keyframes in his sleep, but a majority of people remember Twomad due to his actions nearing the abrupt conclusion of his life on the 13th of February 2024 at the young age of 23, due to an apparent accidental drug overdose. It has officially been a year and a half since he died, and it is something of which still to this day people are celebrating, with things like memes, as is the case with the internet. Hell, even if you farmed good karma the majority of your life, there would still be at least one meme made with the cast of the Flash emoting next to a grave, and obviously some people that still do like Twomad shared these memes because that was the type of community he cultivated, and some think Twomad himself would potentially enjoy these memes made about him. But some do it to once again celebrate he is dead, primarily because of the things he did before he died and the things he was accused of. He posted a barrage of tweets almost daily, many confusing and what some would consider manic, one specifically regarding a trans teen that was killed, of which he used the excuse he didn't know their backstory before posting it. He was accused of sexual assault, attempted murder, pedophilia, harassment, stalking, and having multiple victims. And when some of these claims came out at the time when he was still alive, he made them significantly worse by refusing to take them seriously, responding with edgy humour and just overall a lack of seriousness. And a lot of people attribute this to his drug use and potential mental illnesses, which potentially could have played a key part. People that knew and interacted with Twomad say he didn't understand social cues, he didn't understand how to talk to people, and this was also present in his early life.
He told me during my interview with him that he was mute in high school. He basically didn't know how to talk, didn't talk to anybody. When he started posting online, which again was when he was a teenager with a developing brain, he found a way of feeling understood and finding a market for the way in which he was deeply strange.
Genius, like he was smart, he was the only thing he was not intelligent at was like understanding emotion, like everything but that he was great at. He was asking us for advice because he had no fucking idea how to talk to a girl or how to get that talking to a girl to end in having sex with the girl, which is what he ultimately wanted.
Well, of course.
Twomad had very few friends, something of which stayed the same to the very end, as he either pushed them away, cut ties altogether, or left due to the aforementioned erratic behaviour.
You know, no one's going to see I added him on Discord, so I don't care. I'll just check in, see how he's doing. Because of course people wanted me to block him out and just get rid of him. Like I had to kick him out of the group chats, and that was one of that was the thing that hurt him the most. Like he's trending on Twitter. Like everyone's tearing him apart, and he's there spamming my DMs because I removed him from the group chat. You know, cause going in on me because I removed him from this group chat because like that was his only, like outside of the LA sphere, though that was his like little friend group of normal people.
Obviously all of this is not an excuse for the things he did, the things he said, and his overall actions towards other people, but this is just additional context. However, a good portion of the allegations against Twomad would only come the day his death was confirmed. Upon his death, these additional claims could not be disputed, and there would never be a clear conclusion to the claims made against him in 2023, and due to all the claims and allegations never having a clear conclusion, this is where Twomad's reputation has stayed. A perpetual standstill, if you will. There are still memes being made about his death, especially the fact he died playing Overwatch 2 of all games, and his name still holds some negative connotations to this day. Now, I'm not going to go on a rant about how Twomad was actually a great guy, because that wouldn't exactly be true. He harassed multiple people, made some quite disgusting comments towards other people towards his end, and once again, many people have come out with terrible experiences with Twomad.
Like towards the end, he was so, like, his brain was so frazzled from drugs, he actually removed me off Discord, and he was convinced that I deleted him.
The purpose of making this video is because some of the claims made against Twomad to this day have not had significant evidence provided to prove them, but supposedly by the people that made these claims, they do have the evidence to prove them, and there was apparently a full video going to be made going into everything. It's been a full year and a half, and that video was never made, and there was never significant evidence to prove some of the claims they suggested, but it was still being treated as true, with the silence leading some to question these claims and the people's intentions involved. Some dispute these claims, and some may have been proven wrong. A lot of these claims were launched by one person that has a history with Twomad, and still to this day, these claims are used to condemn Twomad further despite not being properly proven. This is something I've been wondering for a while and something I wanted to talk about today. But before we get into these claims quickly, and yes, I mean quickly, I know every video going over Twomad has gone into his past in depth, like it was a David Attenborough documentary, and here are 3 videos you can watch to go into detail about his earlier life. This one compared his story to H.P. Lovecraft, which was actually a good watch. But for those of you who don't know who this person is, who is Twomad?
Baba Booey.
Twomad or Midday Sadiq was born on the 17th of December 2000. Not a lot is known about his early life, but as said before, in high school, Twomad was basically mute. He didn't talk to people and he didn't have a lot of friends, so he mainly focused on things like YouTube, with his first upload being Overwatch gameplay on the Twomad 360 channel in 2016. He continued uploading and eventually struck gold with his Overwatch content, especially with videos like Nerf Lucio made in 2017, probably down to his fast-paced editing, and many other people who uploaded the same content saw this same success in the same area, like One Punch Kid. What's he doing nowadays? After this success, he started uploading more frequently and grew his audience from there. He also started streaming his gameplay on Twitch, which was another source of revenue for him, as well as his new channel named Twomad, made in late 2017, where he uploaded a lot of clips of his livestream. With this success, Twomad could leave the eventual shithole that was Overwatch and move to any game he wanted, and his audience would watch him. This success would carry all the way to 2019, where he would eventually reveal his face on his now main channel Twomad in February, of which most of his fans were surprised. He was black? But that wasn't where it would stop, as he was about to catapult himself through the ranks of YouTube in the same year. He was already popular around this time and was in contact with many other influential YouTubers, even later on being able to create a Rainbow Six Siege tournament with a lot of said personalities. However, around the same time, he was getting himself involved in controversies such as the Lincoln Memorial incident, where Twomad started bringing viewers on his stream, and a viewer talks about climbing the Lincoln Memorial, of which he does, and Twomad encourages him to throw a beer bottle whilst on said memorial, of which he did, and then he got promptly arrested, which landed Twomad a ban, and was around the time he lost his partner status on his Twitch, which was a hit to his revenue. But the incident was heavily publicised at the time, and he later commented he thought it would go viral, so that's why he did it.
I thought it would go viral though, so I was like, oh yeah, it's worth it, dude. This is the best content I've had in a long time.
It went as viral as it could live stream viral.
Yeah. This is the sort of behaviour that would lead many to the theory of the internet killed Twomad, where he had to be the centre of attention, good or bad, and any publicity is good publicity, and he would constantly do outlandish things, pushing the bar for views and attention, to the point where you couldn't distinguish him from his content, and he probably couldn't distinguish that as well, potentially severely affecting his mental health. But the publicity of this incident would not compare to one meme he made that would cement him in history, and that was the "Good Night Girl" meme.
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
This blew up on multiple platforms and led a lot of people to be able to find his YouTube and his regular content. This meme was everywhere with variations of it, and it even appearing in PewDiePie's YouTube Rewind. Twomad saw a lot of success and a major increase in viewership from this meme, but he wasn't done there. He threw his shit at K-pop stans, which they didn't appreciate very much. He got kicked out of his parents' house because his sister called the cops because she thought he ate cheesy bread, but she probably forgot she ate it. What the fuck?
Family issues, and I'd recently been forced out of the house by the police. Because someone ate my sister's cheesy bread, and I'm totally convinced she just ate it and forgot that she did. And she blamed me and she called the cops!
Apparently things between his parents and him were souring from DMs made at the time. So he began looking for a place to live, which led to drama with another YouTuber, which we'll talk about later. Twomad would eventually resolve his living situation as he was making the money to do so, but he would face another peak in popularity around COVID in 2020 due to his Zoom trolling, which was so popular it was picked up by the news.
But as more people logged on, its security and privacy flaws were exposed. In a trend that became known as Zoom bombing, some people began disrupting online school classes as a prank to share on YouTube, like Twomad.
Yes, it was. Don't do that with your head.
Once again, more people were now introduced to Twomad, with many of these videos going viral. Twomad would eventually settle in LA around 2021, where he would continue his content and widen his web with connections to other content creators. But it was also in LA drugs would become a problem for Twomad, where apart from his prescribed meds for things like his ADHD, he was doing weed, which he had done previously, and then eventually more harder and riskier drugs. This did eventually affect the quality of his content, and on his main channel he would eventually stop uploading, with his last upload on that channel being in August 2022. But whilst his uploads slowed down, his activity on Twitter did not, becoming more and more erratic, sometimes tweeting more than 50 times a day. And as his drug habits and mental got worse, so did his tweets, where in 2023 he would make one of his more infamous tweets regarding the teen we talked about earlier. With the backlash Twomad was facing for this tweet, it would also be around the same time that he would be accused of sexual assault, where the victim would accuse him of harassing her, stalking her, and sexually assaulting her towards the start of 2022, which we can gather from messages she made to her school regarding the issue, and in the documents regarding it. It is very clear and verifiable Twomad was obsessed with this girl. She also shared an apology video Twomad made towards her for some actions he did.
Dab, okay, so apology. Alright, so I can't take the damage away that I've done, but I'll try my best, okay? I made like sexual advances you weren't comfortable with, you know what I mean? And I truly do regret all of that so much.
The victim also shows a signed contract supposedly made by Twomad. Twomad would come out to say he was coerced into doing all of this as a last-ditch effort so he could speak to her again, and slowly more harassment victims would come out to talk about their experience with Twomad. After this, Twomad would only make things significantly worse for himself. He would address it on stream and frame it as a feud with an ex-girlfriend, of which the girl would deny, and would go on to say events like this are normal.
Not worse. It's common! Common! All the time! It happens!
Just overall, Twomad was not taking this seriously at all. On Twomad 360, he would upload videos that were basically just shit posts, where he would react to other people's videos on him.
Twomad is known for being unhinged.
No, I'm known for being black and fat.
At this point, Twomad was doubling down on his online persona, and was quite simply just trolling and once again not treating it seriously whatsoever.
Alright, so not everything.
Which things?
No, I didn't do shit. Okay, I don't deny everything. I deny some things and I accept some things, okay? Fuck you. I'm just describing what the fuck I'm actually doing. I'm in Oregon right now.
But in Twomad's most sane states, he would deny the allegations, but did admit he did ask her a lot for sexual things, and did claim previously that the relationship was transactional. He did pay her for some of these things.
Pressured her to give you a head, right?
Yeah, when she comes over and when she leaves, it's just like I would ask for the same thing over and over and over and over.
So, when I originally met this girl was for prostitution.
Eventually, Twomad was in a civil case with his previous SA victim, of which it was granted towards the victim, and Twomad was not supposed to contact her for 3 years. This concluded in December of 2023, and during this time Twomad would further descend into his drug habits and further mental problems.
I don't have like a ton of close friends, that's zero, because I'm a genius and I'm in ivory tower or whatever, and everybody kind of knows this because like evident by the schizo tweets. But I'll get over it.
On February 8th, 2024, Twomad would do his last stream, some saying he was foreshadowing his own death.
I don't remember it, really, I really don't.
I don't remember this, because I'm on ketamine all the time. Right now, too. Not now, later.
5 days later, after the stream, a wellness check would be performed and Twomad would be found dead due to a drug overdose. Shortly after, the news would hit the internet, where on top of shock and amusement from others, additional claims would be applied to Twomad's name that some, even to this day, do not have substantial evidence to prove them. So Jameski, or James Prime, is a content creator that has been around since 2016, and his channel used to go by the name Killsley. You probably know Jameski from his VR chat content and his outro song. I swear that song used to rub my frontal lobe. But where does Jameski come into this? Well, when Twomad was looking for a place to stay after he left his family home in 2019, Jameski would offer him a place to stay. But this arrangement actually didn't work out. Twomad decided to live elsewhere, and in one stint visited Anything for Views for a while. And around October time, Jameski would release a twitlonger labelled My Experience with Twomad. In his twitlonger, he would claim Twomad and his fans were attacking him, being manipulative and running a smear campaign, and just overall being mean to him with things like the Rainbow Six Siege tournament, and also calling him Russian when he is Danish and he has PTSD around this, especially the way he talks and his accent. However, quickly some, including Twomad himself, have alleged Jameski is Russian, with very old clips back in the day of Jameski speaking Russian, and allegedly he pushed away a lot of his Russian friends.
Coming like a symbol. Это уже не наушники, это уже велосипед. Бисиклет. Никто не может написать правильно слово bicycle!
Also, Twomad and people in the current day allege his name is Igor. But once again, all of this is alleged. He also accuses him of being racist and offensive, mainly due to him using the N-word and R-word when he was asked not to, and apparently because he wouldn't get on a plane because a guy had a turban. There was also claims of exploiting their friendship by guilt-tripping them to give him housing and paying for his hotel, and saying he would show up unannounced despite health implications Jameski was facing, and then ultimately just ghosting Jameski, even sending him the wrong address when both of them were in Australia, and also claims there is a bunch of evidence and there are people to back this up, but there was no evidence actually provided. Slight foreshadowing there. Twomad would respond to these claims in a now deleted video doubling down that he is Russian, primarily because James called Anything for Views who he was staying with at the time.
Why did I call you out for being Russian? Because you called my current roommate Anything for Views, asked him if he was alone, and then proceeded to tell him that I took advantage of you. I'm a clout chaser. I must warn you of Twomad. Jameski's Russian. Jameski will lie about his entire identity, so why believe about everything else? If you're gonna believe Jameski, get receipts. Don't blindly believe people.
He also claims a lot of this is lies and manipulation, and Jameski is overreacting at times, and that a lot of the things he did do were jokes and he did apologize.
No, Jameski, I did not make fun of your speech problems. At worst, your accent! Once again, he's making it look like I had some sort of issue against his health problems, which I had no idea about, and frankly can't tell exists. Sure, I was being a prick. A prick solely for entertainment, to be toxic, for the stream, which I explained to you while I was apologizing profusely in the call we had the day after. You're bringing it up just to make me look bad.
But probably the most damning accusation made by Twomad was that Jameski loved bowling and would force people to go. This drama was all around high school level drama. James would respond again clarifying he's not Russian but did stay in Russia, Poland and Denmark, and him speaking Russian was for the convenience of the people recording at the time, along with some receipts of Twomad saying his name is Igor and talking about Jameski's mental health. This was the history these two had until June 24th, 2023, when the assault allegations against Twomad were made, and Jameski offered to pay for the case. Now, I couldn't find any contact these two had after their drama except a few jabs by Twomad, but in a later report regarding a different event which we're going to be talking about later, gathered by Henry Resilient, Jameski would claim that Twomad and his fans were harassing him since 2019, and Twomad apparently kept asking them to harass him, and his fans would send him violent and hateful imagery and also gore. Now, there was no evidence that Twomad kept sending his fans over the years to harass him, so we don't know if that part is true, but this could be a reason why he wanted to fund the case except for their past history. And Twomad would comment on this in one of his 2023 interviews.
Is he funding her case from your perspective?
Well, I think that like it's like a thing that he hears like he doesn't like that what happened with us, like since we had a drama falling out. He's like,
what did you said he was pretending to be Russian? Was that your thing?
Yeah, so it's like just all those sort of like wrongs to him that I did. Yeah, he's like Russian, but he's like Danish, just some like weird mental thing. I don't know, whatever. He's just holding a grudge about it because he doesn't like that happened on the internet.
Actually, a few months after Jameski supported the victim, he would file his own order of protection against Twomad in October of 2023, of which Twomad was served and said he would not show up. The filing of the order of protection was near the events of TwitchCon 2023 in Las Vegas, where Twomad said he was going to go to even though he was banned, and there was a rumour that Twomad was going to shoot up the event. Jameski, who was at the event and now was supporting his victim, would fear for his life after some of the things Twomad was posting regarding him, and he would report this to the police. But Twomad was going to the TwitchCon to apparently meme on Adept with the whole XQC divorce thing. Even Twomad at the time reacted to this, but Jameski did have a right to fear his life at the time. Twomad was posting random and alarming things. Jameski still went to TwitchCon and allegedly told the person in this picture not to post it, who was also the same person that didn't know his messages would be taken out of context and would be used in a legal document at the time.
Hey, I'm scared to go to TwitchCon, only for him to go to TwitchCon. Now, he told Wist not to post this and not to say anything, but I spoke with Wist. He said, hey, I saw the court docs in his hands, which was likely the police reports.
Also, there was a bunch of people posting they could corroborate that Jameski was in trouble, but if there was evidence, according to Henry Resilient, it was not included in the police report, and they simply might have just been talking about the heavy police presence. Moving on, we get to when Twomad died and the report of his death reached the internet, and only a few hours after which Jameski would make some claims towards Twomad, and a few days later another one, and then another one showing Twomad brandishing what he believed were firearms, and then finally a huge document that still to this day is being used to condemn Twomad. Before I get into each allegation made against Twomad in the tweets and documents, it's important to note I will be citing a lot from Henry Resilient, someone that looks into a lot of legal cases surrounding the content creation sphere, and someone that spent around $500 in order to obtain all these court documents. He initially was very anti-Twomad, and after seeing some of the cases was pro-Twomad. He was also mentioned in Jameski's document, and according to him, when he changed up, apparently Jameski and the victim started filing privacy complaints against him. He also had contact with Jameski, where Jameski clarifies he was not celebrating Twomad's death, reiterates how terrible the situation was for him, and then finishes off by saying he won't attend an interview. Henry was also in contact with the SA victim, where they wanted some of their information censored, and then in their final DM, they tell him how dissatisfied they are with his videos, around the time he was posting pro-Twomad videos, and that apparently Jameski is making a video regarding all of this, of which to this day there is no video, there is only a document that doesn't prove everything.
From the sounds of it.
Yeah, Jameski emailed me, Goldilocks emailed me, and there was like a big whole like, well, why'd you leak the DMs? Why did I do that? One, he called me a clown in his 52-page manifesto. It's like the very last page.
Oh.
It's the very last page. So I'm like, oh, I'm a clown. But, you know, when I was covering Twomad, everything was all good. Everyone was like, oh, thank you for bringing awareness. But as the time shifted, then I became a clown. And then I called him out in the video. And it got a lot of positive reactions. And that's why I leaked the DMs. And then they filed the privacy complaint against my channel.
But let's get into some of the allegations made against Twomad. Now this is one of the claims still heavily used against Twomad to this day, and it was used in the first line of Jamesky's tweet the day he died. And the claim never really developed throughout the following tweets and even in the document. In the document it just says he was a predator, but the full severity couldn't be developed out of the sincerity of his victims. Now Twomad did make some rather disgusting tweets and messages towards the end, some directly towards the people he was harassing. Some could write this off as alarming jokes, as Twomad at the time loved to be a villain.
I think that, yeah. If he could see, like, if he could make people think he was the villain and scare them in any way, like, he found that funny. That was his humor.
It is funny.
And some could write this off as admission. But no other concrete evidence was provided except for comments he made and Jamesky referring to other victims. If you make claims like this, especially in your headline, and then reiterate it through the tweets saying people should remember him as such, you would hope there was concrete evidence for such a claim. Jamesky did cite one instance where Twomad was in contact with a vulnerable 13-year-old in a mental hospital, and this 13-year-old did exist, and Twomad was in contact with them, even at one point taking one picture directly from their stay at said mental hospital. However, the girl later stated she was just friends with Twomad and he never made advances, and she didn't appreciate being used as evidence in this allegation and accused Jamesky of lying about her situation. Now, it is very weird for a 23-year-old to be friends with a 13-year-old, by the way, just saying. But apart from this and Twomad saying disgusting shit towards his end, there was no evidence Twomad was a pedophile. But the claim is still regurgitated to this day. Now, another claim against Twomad is that he was armed and made attempts on people's lives. Specifically, he owned an AR and a Glock, with many pictures being shown with Twomad owning firearms, and even messages saying he does own firearms. And even a claim in the document that Twomad was supposed to surrender his weapons. Jamesky provided a picture of a bullet hole in his window, a bulletproof vest, a SWAT team outside of his house, videos of him pulling a gun on his SA victim and loading a gun, and a picture of the amount of police reports he made. The bullet hole was never really explained, he just assumed it was Twomad. But I did find a tweet from Twomad that could be referring to this, where he basically says he doesn't know anything about that. There was a clip used of Twomad apparently shooting a gun in the air, but this was edited.
This is not a PNG, this is some bullshit! What the fuck?
And that was stated in court by Twomad as well, as it was also used in the court proceedings, like the video of Twomad pulling a gun on the girl.
It's for YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. It's also recorded quite a long time ago in Las Vegas.
The SWAT team was not on his house, it was on the house across the street, where he assumed Twomad got the wrong house, which was in his statement. The spread of police reports, which are really hard to read, Henry Resilient would guess they are about his tweets, not about actual threats.
So all these police reports, I imagine they are mostly tweets. Tweets.
The video of him pulling a gun on the woman, in the full video he says is a BB gun, but he does own actual guns.
Do you think it was a real gun?
Is that the one you were saying?
I have a real one. I may still have a real one.
Regarding the many pictures and videos of him with guns, they were used as evidence, where some people would come out and claim they recorded these videos or were there and they were BB or airsoft guns. Twomad on multiple occasions did admit to owning firearms and not owning them.
No, it's a BB gun.
Okay, it's a BB gun. So you don't own any real guns. That's what I was gonna say, because you're a fucking Canadian citizen. You're not, and you're in California, right? So like, what was the, like?
Yeah, I don't own any guns.
So then what? Even at one point he says he owns other people's firearms.
Were they yours or like someone else's?
They're somebody else's.
Okay. When you say they were someone else's, like, were you using them? Like, did you take them to the range or anything?
No.
And in another instance he said he wouldn't own firearms because he wouldn't want to risk a raid on his house with all the drugs he had around.
I don't have any fucking guns. I just really don't. Like, I mean, please execute a search warrant and just, well, the thing is, if you execute a search warrant, then you might find my plethora of drugs.
And also in the court transcripts, he says he did not have firearms. So did Twomad own firearms? We don't know. In the document it doesn't use those pics of him armed again, but claims he did have guns, and claims the police were more concerned with the people supplying guns than him, and that the police were lazy and Twomad was told to surrender his arms. But Henry Resilient says in the court documents no order was ever given.
The LAPD did not refuse to take Twomad's guns, okay? This is just not true, okay? Him posting pictures of guns on Twitter does not meet probable cause for someone's house to be searched. This right here, and like the judge really never said anything about the whole firearms until the last court case. It was never the last hearing. It was never like, oh, we need to go get his guns right now. Okay, and that was on the December 5th.
And it was also claimed he was supposed to be arrested before he died.
Instructing the cops to go arrest him? No.
That was a lie.
At no point in any hearing did the judge say Twomad is to be arrested, okay? When someone wants to be arrested, it's not like a verbal, hey, go arrest them. You have to create a warrant for their arrest for a potential crime that they committed. You have to have the evidence of them breaking the law, which never happened in court. This is, like I said, the vilification.
Did Twomad threaten his victims with guns? There's also no hard evidence of this. Apart from his vague tweets, and regarding the TwitchCon event, Jameski ticked a box that said he was not directly threatened with guns, that apparently the counter-terrorist unit told him to check. But it is worth noting that Twomad was afraid that if he did too many drugs, he would do something, and references the McSkillet case, who was a content creator that drove his car into oncoming traffic and killed a mother and a daughter.
And if I take more, because of you gotta take more in order to have the same effect, that I might do something even more crazy and I won't even know I did it because of this fucking drug, which is terrifying because there's the law. Like if I broke the fucking law by driving a car, which I have readily available to me. Like, you know McSkillet?
McSkillet?
Yeah.
But there was no hard evidence that Twomad had guns and that he threatened people with them. With this sexual assault, I'm just going to say it flat out, nobody knows what happened between these two individuals. It is still her word versus his. Twomad would claim they were in a relationship and she was a prostitute. There were some messages allegedly regarding this, of which Jameski says in his document were fake and were proven wrong in an investigation but doesn't provide any evidence they were wrong. The court case where Twomad now had to stay away from this girl for 3 years was due to the amount of harassment Twomad was putting this girl through, and it would be fair to say Twomad was obsessed with this girl and admitted to pressuring her at times.
And on the same stream, he also says he definitely pressured her into sex, but in his view she could have left at any point in time and he never would have stopped her.
From your perspective, it's all going to get thrown out because of the sexual assault stuff just being unprovable.
It's possible. The sexual assault stuff, I really just don't, like I was literally Googling it earlier today. I still think about it all the time. Is what I did sexual assault. It says coerced sexual assault, right?
Yeah.
Coercion. The thing is, I definitely pressured her, right? I absolutely did. Since day one, it was just like the same question. Like it wasn't like I sprung it on her. It was just the same question every time we would hang out.
You pressured her to give you a head, right?
Come, yeah. When she comes over and when she leaves, it's just like I would and ask for the same thing over and over and over.
And once again, Twomad didn't treat this seriously at all. You also have to remember the video where Twomad admitted to doing certain acts, and the written contract, of which Twomad's reasoning was he was coerced into it. There is also a clip that has been completely wiped off YouTube. You cannot upload it, you can only find archives of it, and this is the reason a bunch of videos going over this situation were taken down. But it's a video provided by Twomad in the Turkey Tom and Gurkanaro livestream, allegedly recorded on the day of one of the incidents. And Twomad apparently recorded this because he thought she was going to cancel him, and because he was touching her, which on its own is a worrying statement, but the camera is pointed at the ceiling and the two of them are talking. And this is allegedly when he trapped her in the corner. She calls him an incel, he asks if she will ever have sex with him, and she says something along the lines of, yeah, I've said that multiple times. And she says she's never had someone treat her as bad as he has, and she is upset. And she constantly reiterates he does not care. And he does attempt to touch her, apparently her feet, and she says she doesn't want to be touched. I don't know why this was removed from YouTube, but the sexual assault allegations were never resolved in a criminal case. The focus was a civil harassment order, and it is still alleged to this day. In conclusion, I think if you're going to post allegations against someone the day they die, I think you need to provide all the evidence straight up, and provide evidence that proves your claims, especially when one of your tweets was pushed to the forefront of the internet to the point where even his family saw them. The whole document presented by Jameski does have a lot of holes in it if you don't take Jameski at his word, and presents more questions than answers. There were some things in the document I didn't cover that Henry Resilient did, and he has all the court documents. He even shows you how to request them, so if you are interested, go check out his videos on the topic. James points to wanting to protect the victims and ongoing investigations, which is apparently why he didn't share certain information, but in my opinion I think a lot of that would have been crucial to condemning Twomad if it did exist. I don't know if any additional victims will come forward, or if any of these investigations he mentioned will eventually be pushed to the public. Ultimately, a lot of the claims against Twomad are still alleged after a year and a half. I don't know if Jameski is ever going to release that video, or if there ever was a video being worked on. He doesn't talk much about this situation anymore. The last few tweets he made are regarding this situation and other people. Some are still asking for additional information regarding Twomad, and some fully condemn him. It's been a year and a half since his death, and I don't think we ever are going to get a full explanation to some of the claims made. And I generally do believe Twomad, in the state he was, did not help himself and made things significantly worse for himself, but I do believe in innocent until proven guilty. But at the end of the day, Twomad is no longer with us, and he did do a lot of terrible things towards his end. Some remember Twomad for the allegations made against him and the things he said the months before his death, and some remember him for the funny videos he did and as an inspiration. I remember Twomad for his Overwatch videos. There is still a draft of my very own Overwatch video on my old Lenovo laptop I made when I was a teen, trying to imitate his editing. But yeah, that's just something I had on my mind for a while and wanted to talk about, and yeah.
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.